I remember sitting in your seats and just wanting to come out of my skin. I was so excited to be done with my M.B.A. I hope you feel the same. So let's bring some energy to this because it's gonna be a heck of a lot more fun. So when I raise my hands in the air or in any direction, emphatically making a point, I wanna hear you clap one time. Can you do it right now? All right, now you're M.B.A. students, so I wanna make the effect one good time. All right. I'm not gonna sit up here and pine on about all the things that you read in textbooks that are theory. I'm gonna share with you 3 personal stories that I think have helped me over the last 25 years. And what I want you to do first is picture in your mind a vehicle. It is the most wonderful vehicle you could ever drive. And its capabilities are only the capabilities that you would have put in that vehicle. You get to design it. And ultimately, this vehicle is going to represent your life. I have 3 questions about the vehicle. The first question is, who's holding the keys? The second question is, how far can this vehicle go, and in what direction should it be traveling? And the last question is, do you have any idea how to recharge this vehicle when it's running out of energy? Because ultimately what I've found in the last 25 years is that if you can answer those 3 questions, you're gonna have a lot of resilience. You're gonna be able to not only survive, but thrive. And I'll share with you what I've gone through, which is all sort of based in adversity because that's where we learn. But I'll share what I've gone through that have given me some life lessons that for whatever it's worth, I'd like to pass on to you. So first, let's talk about the keys to the vehicle. I'm in 8th grade. I'm in New York. And I find myself in an advanced math class at a very new school to me because the state of New York decided that certain neighborhoods weren't getting a great education, and so they needed to bus those students to other neighborhoods where they could get access to a great education. And when we showed up, my parents said, he's been doing great in math, and we think he should be in the advanced math class, and the administration, the teacher said, absolutely not. And my parents put up a fuss until they finally said, fine, put him in the class if you want to, he'll probably fail. After about 4 or 5 weeks of sitting in class and being completely frustrated, not so much with the material, but absolutely with the teacher, I decided to ask yet another question and expected to get the same answer that I had been getting for the first 4 or 5 weeks. Only this time I had mustered up the courage to actually have a response to the teacher when she answered me with this. I raised my hand. Teacher, can you explain to me how to solve this part of this problem? Answer, if you don't understand the basics associated with this mathematics, it again proves why you should not be in this class. Wow. You're talking about an 8th grader being completely demoralized in front of a classroom of what I would like to call peers, although I had no idea who any of these kids were. But I felt less than 0. And I started to question my own capabilities throughout the first 4 to 5 weeks of that classroom experience. But at that moment, I had mustered up the courage to at least draw on the strengths that I knew supported me, and I was lucky enough to have 2 very supportive parents. So I stood up in front of that teacher after telling me yet again I didn't belong in the class, and I said, you know what, I'm tired of hearing this answer. And I'm no longer gonna sit in your class and not get the answers to my question. My father will be here at the end of the day to have a conversation with you. Now, what's interesting is the way I imagine that is with a whole lot of strength. You, lady, my daddy's gonna be here. But it probably came across more like this. My dad's gonna be here to talk to you at the end. You know, in my own mind, it was a legendary experience. But as I left that classroom full of courage, it soon became just an overwhelming emotional experience. And I marched down to the principal's office full of tears, and I marched into his office, past his assistant, and pounded on the door and said, you need to get my father on the phone. Now, he had no idea what was going on. He was probably worried that something happened to me. So he promptly called my dad in Manhattan, which was 60 miles away from where we lived and where I went to school, and said, your son needs to talk to you. And I grabbed the phone and I said, Dad, you need to get here right now. Click. All of us who are parents, that's like the biggest nightmare. But he did show up. My mom showed up first, and I was still in hysterics. And I said, Mom, you know, I want Dad to handle this. Dad was the one who helped me with math, and I just felt like I wanted him involved. Well, when my dad showed up, and the teacher and the principal and myself and my dad met, my father said, look, what's the problem? And I explained what was going on. The teacher again said, look, he doesn't belong in the class. My dad said, look, give me the syllabus and let me know what the name and the version of the textbook is, and I'll teach my son. So he installed a blackboard in our kitchen, and every night we had a standing date from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. where he taught me Algebra 2 and trigonometry. I've been blessed to have some wonderful parents. I wish they could be here to hear what I'm saying about them. I started to find success in that class and ultimately went on to take the state regents test that I aced. I ended up with a B+ in the class because the grades in the class weren't so great, but the grades on the state test were excellent, and that was 50% of my grade point average. And I reflected on that experience when I looked at my test grade, and I thought that this individual, this teacher, almost took the keys away from me, the keys to my life, by making me feel like I was less capable than other people, by making me think that I couldn't achieve something that I had set out to achieve. When you look at this vehicle called your life, don't ever let anybody do that to you, particularly if you have graduated from this school. What I learned about entrepreneurship and intrapreneurship in this school has fueled my career for the last 25 years. I am a change junkie. If it isn't right, we're gonna fix it. I don't care how disruptive it is. You have those capabilities if you sat in those classrooms. Don't be shy, be bold. Take your education and put it to use. Don't ever let someone hold the keys to your future. You hold them. And if they want to get in the way, it's your vehicle. Kick them out of the car. They don't belong in there. The people who are in the back seat and sit next to you in the front seat should be the most encouraging, uplifting people that should be along for the ride with you, called your life. So my first encouragement to you is hold on firmly to those keys. Now, tonight when you go out partying, get a designated driver. But outside of that, hold on to the keys of your life. Don't turn them over to anyone else. Lesson number 2. I was running a business for Jack in the Box for about 4 years, and we decided to sell it. I didn't think I'd have a job after selling it, so I offered to take an open position as a regional vice president of operations for Jack in the Box restaurants, while also maintaining my old position, which was division vice president of convenience store operations, until we sold that business, which meant I was gonna basically be 2 VPs in one for about a year. It was brutal. I worked 7 days a week, crazy hours. I absolutely loved everything that I was doing, but I was burning out. And at about the 7 or 8 month mark, I was tired and I needed a break. And I remember going home on a Friday evening, and my wife said, "Is everything okay?" And I said, "Everything's fine. Don't misinterpret anything that's about to happen. I'm just exhausted and I need to go to bed." And I find myself sleeping the entire weekend, essentially balled up in the fetal position. I was wiped out. And it was shortly after that that one of the executives that works with me suggested that I go to this executive physical. He said, "Look, you're burning yourself out. You need to take care of yourself." And essentially these assessments, these physicals, it's like a health assessment. They're put in place to make sure that guys like me don't drop dead of a heart attack or something because we're working ourselves to death. And so when I go to this assessment, they said, "Would you like to take the psychological exam?" And I said, "Sure, let's find out if I'm crazy." So I took the exam, and what I expected to hear was, "You're a very capable person," but that's not what I heard. What I heard was, "You're a capable person who, very much like other capable people, is burning yourself out, and you are borderline on the brink of depression." That's not what I expected to hear. But thank God for this doctor, Dr. Frederick. She got in my face. She said, "You're a type A personality. If it's on your calendar, it happens, right?" I said, "Yes." She says, "Well, let me ask you what brings you joy. Let me ask you how you recharge your batteries." And I said, "Well, I love to run. I play sports. I love to play with my kids. I love to go out on dates with my wife. These are the things that recharge my batteries." She said, "Well, put them on your calendar. No more excuses. A gym bag needs to be in your car at all times. The time with your kids and your wife and the time away for physical activities that you enjoy needs to be scheduled, because ultimately you're no good to no one. You're no good to yourself. You're not going to inspire or uplift anything You're not going to help anyone creatively problem solve if your batteries are running on empty. There is a time to be selfish, folks. And it is the time where you yourself need to recharge so that you have the energy and the ability to be at your best for everyone else who needs you. And so lesson number 2 is figure out now the cadence that you must use to recharge the batteries to your vehicle called life so that every day, every week, every year is a productive, successful year. Don't find yourself in the fetal position, exhausted and burnt out. That isn't going to make you better because you work harder. What's going to make you better is that you actually understand your own rhythm, and that's the beat that you move to. Are you hearing me? So I graduated in 1997 with one goal. Now keep in mind I had first baby here, wife, house, lots of responsibility, a little bit of credit card debt, car payment, stress, really associated with money. And so I had one goal, and the goal was by the time I'm 30, I want to be making $100,000 a year, because that is the magic that is going to make everything easy. And I just swore that that was it, and I worked my tail off to make that happen. And I remember on my 30th birthday, everybody's asking me, why are you so reflective and you're not celebrating? I wasn't in a celebratory mood. And the reason was I had realized that I had absolutely accomplished my goals, and they were the wrong goals. I wasn't finding any joy in the fact that I was making a little over $100,000 a year. In fact, I had found myself in a work situation that was no longer bringing me joy every day. And I sat down with a mentor who told me, listen, you have to realize that if you can wake up every day excited about what the day holds, you're far more likely to find success than you are if you just chase the almighty dollar. If you chase your passions, the money will come. That was so hard for me to hear when I graduated from Nova Southeastern. In fact, the first person who told me to do that was a family friend that I thought he was absolutely insane to tell me that my goal should be anything other than making money. So I switched companies. I left ExxonMobil. I went to work for Jack in the Box. And my goals had completely changed at that point. My goal was essentially at that point to wake up every morning excited about what the day holds, to feel valued by the company that I was working for, and to know that when I came home, I had a stable situation in the household. And that as long as those things happened, then I could chase a career. And so what career did I want? Well, I knew I wanted to be in either retail, hospitality, or restaurants. And I knew that I wanted to be in a leadership job because it was the people challenges that really got me energized. And so I go to work for Jack in the Box, and I've been there now for almost 16 years. I'm now the chairman and CEO of that company. Thank you. Here's the thing though, folks. I have never asked for a promotion. I have never told the company that I want to climb the ladder and that I need to get this title, this next run, this next notch on the belt. I never once have asked. All I've done is shown up to work every day, passionate about what I'm doing. And as a result, they've continued to ask me to do more. It's been a wonderful ride. I don't know when it's going to end, but I know that when it does, I will leave that place knowing that I made it better than when I first showed up. I'll know that I had an impact, and I know that that impact started when I was sitting in these very seats that you're sitting in right now. I had to learn that lesson about having the right goals. Where is my vehicle traveling and how far can it go? That is something that you're going to need to dig down deep inside and figure out for yourself. But don't ever make the mistake of setting your goals based on what the world would say is success. The only one who can define success for you is you. And if at the end of the day, you achieve something that brings you a tremendous amount of joy and satisfaction, you'll know you're on the right track. I wish you all the best of luck, and I tell you to have the absolute confidence in what you've learned here, because this school of entrepreneurship, whether you work within a company and you're an entrepreneur, or you go on and build the next new incredible thing like Uber, regardless, it's the foundation that you have built here that you can rely on to fuel your future. Congratulations, congratulations, congratulations.
Thank you.